Quiet, piggy. Quiet. I can't believe that's presidential language. You know, I never thought some of the cuttings from the Muppets movie, the edit room cutouts, the edited scenes, edited out of the Muppets movie. Quiet, piggy. Quiet, piggy. Oh, that's not Kermit. I gotta get lower to do Kermit. But I never thought quiet, piggy. Something you probably heard Kermit say once or 40 times is presidential language. And, you know, I can't stop thinking about how funny that is. That we have an absolute moron in the White House. Nailed it. Fucking nailed it.
What part of the body?
What part of the body? What part of the body, Bubba?
It wasn't the brain because I took a cognitive test and I aced it. I got a perfect mark.
I took a cognitive test. If you just... This guy is such a moron. He's a psycho. So if you didn't know... Quiet piggy. Now, here's the other thing about quiet piggy. That said by Kermit the Frog. Kermit the Frog here. Quiet piggy. Something with Jim Henson's voice saying quiet piggy is almost comical, you know? Where Kermit would then look at the screen. You know, quiet piggy. But when an old PDF file, best friends with Epstein, criminal, loser, traitorous, treasoner, says it, you know, and then wobbles off. Wobble. Watch a fat man wobble. He'll go and wobble. Hurrah. Giddy up. So the White House is live. Magic and beef. I don't think I have the words up on the screen. What's it called? You know, the little words, the subtitles. I have the subtitles up. It says Magic and Beef is coming down. Probably heard on Epstein Island. Magic and Beef is coming down. You know, old Magic and Beef. But White House Live is the Associated Press YouTube channel has live. Trump participates in a cabinet meeting. I wish this guy would just go into cabinet. Well, soon one day he'll be in a box, you know, and we'll all celebrate. Because this guy is just the worst of the worst. You know, you can't even go through the news without seeing 4,000 articles of Donald Trump and who he has now pardoned, what he has now lied about, what taxpayer money has he grifted this time. So we'll peruse over it. We will, hi, T. Wolfles Stalks, or T. Waffless Talks, and Jeff Horning. Little Jeff Horning sat in a corning, eating his curds and whey. I don't know why, but Jeff Horner, that's it. Sorry, Jeff. Wrong Jeff. I knew a Jeff Horner. He sat in a corner. But we're going to go through all this news. Donald Trump's, who is in charge of his social media? I believe the new Nazis, I don't know why people call them neo-Nazis. I believe the new Nazis have taken over the president's social media handles because he was on links down below. New Republic says he shares more than 150 brain rot posts in the late night rampage. These are not normal behaviors. And we're going to have to go through it all, or most of it. We're going to listen to the White House cabinet meeting, the lies. And I do have some good news at the end of the live stream today. There is a special little robot. This is what technology is for right here. There's a special little robot that is helping to save the earth. And I'm going to show you photos of the robot. And I'm going to tell you all about it. And it's really good news. It really is. It's like this, you know? Why is Elon Musk trying to invent the subway system that we already have? Why isn't he like focusing on cool stuff like this robot that is literally helping us breathe air, literally saving humanity. This little robot, and it looks like a spider. So I'm going to go over that. Links down in the description for everything we're going to talk about. But first, let's do some meme audio. Let's go through some stuff. I don't know if you know who this man is. Guillermo del Toro. What a last name. If you got a last name Del Toro, I believe that means of the Toro. Is it of the bull? Del Toro. Of the bull. That is a hardcore last name, you know. He hails from a long line of bulls. Is his lineage bulls? Maybe he was, you know, maybe his great grandfather was a bull. when the last of the bullfighters when the last of the bullfighters put down their swords, they made peace with the bulls, and we married into the families. And now I am Del Toro of the bulls. No, I'm just playing, because this dude's great. I love his storytelling. I don't know if you got to see Frankenstein. Is that what it's called? It's the it's the Victor Frankenstein movie. Oh shit. Is it called Frankenstein? I just know it is Frankenstein. It's on Netflix. I watched it. I loved it. People were critiquing it. I loved it. I liked Oscar de la. Well, I don't know his full name. I forget it. I know his name is Oscar, and he was a Star Wars guy. I really liked him as, what's that Marvel guy? What's the Marvel Egyptian superhero? Konos? It's a white sheet? Moon Man? Moon Knight! Is it Moon Knight? God damn, I wish I was a comic book nerd. I think he was Moon Knight, and I liked it. I liked that movie because that had a little taste of Memento. Like he would black out and become a superhero or some shit when it was a full moon. I don't really remember. I got to rewatch it. But I love these two, right? These two. Mwah! Chef's kiss to both of you. Look at you guys. Oh, wait a minute. Look at this. Hey! We won! Look, I kind of fit in there. My head's almost as... But if you haven't heard these two, see, guys like this, you know, appreciate the fame and fortune they have, and then they say things like this. If you haven't heard it, this is Guillermo del Toro of the Toros, with Oscar de la Sol. I don't remember his last name. Hold on. Oscar Isaac. He should really be a Oscar de la something. You know, Isaac is, you know, it's no del Toro. I think we should change it to Oscar de la Isaac. I think it should be Oscar. Anybody agree with me? He looks more, not like an Oscar Isaac. He looks like a Oscar de la Isaac. I don't know. If you can add a de la, del, saint, anything to your last name, do it. Do it. You know, it's good for the word economy. That last name economy, you know. Keep it up. We need more words out there, folks. Not enough of them. All right, here is Oscar de la Isaac and Guillermo of the Bulls.
I would like to extend our gratitude and say, fuck AI.
I love it. Oh, I love when these rich guys say, like, the word fuck after receiving an award. What are they at? The Gotham's 2025 Film Award? And then he laughs. Oh man, I wish I could show you guys the video. Hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. One day soon, I'm going to be this huge YouTuber. You're going to be like, I was there. I was number 10,000. So hit subscribe, because when I can show you these videos, when we can watch them together, it's going to be more intimate setting, and we're going to enjoy this more. Right now, you got the still frame. I watch it. You hear the audio. You know, it's just he. It's like, you know, it's just not as good as it could be. So help me get there. Hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. I love that he said fuck AI, and you could tell Guillermo of the Bulls really got a kick out of that, and I appreciate that, you know. And now let's kick it over to Oscar de la Isaac.
I'm so proud to have
been your Victor, to have played your Victor Frankenstein. And I am proud to be standing here tonight, a Guatemalan, an Australian, and a Mexican.
Oh my God, bro. You gotta watch out, dude. ICE is gonna kick in the door. Jesus, dude. What are you doing? You're triggering the conservatives. Did you hear all the things he just said? Holy shit. I am expecting ICE to bum rush the stage and be like, we got him! All a 3-in-1!
An Australian, and a Mexican. Immigrants, baby, we get the job done.
Great line from a great play. Hamilton. If you don't know, that's what he's referencing. And I know that thanks to my lovely, beautiful, smart, talented daughter. Immigrants, baby, we get the job done. Hoorah! Is there a point to this? Moon Knight. Thank you, Sylvie. Andrew, you can see your way out. This isn't for everybody. This is for the conservatives who are like, I need a all-white nation or I'm going to be offended. I need to speak to our country's manager. This ain't for you. This ain't for you, doll. All right, little Andrew with an extra W. You sassy little girl. What? To everybody else, you know what we do. We go every afternoon, every weekday afternoon. I've spent my day foraging in the news deserts, just looking and searching for news, for yous. I go out. You're safe at home, warm by the fire, or in a cubicle working so you don't die of starvation or lack of health care. Depends if you're in America. And I go out. I traverse these food deserts, and I have all the correct equipment on. I look like, what was that? Occupy Mars movie with Matt Damon where he made the poop potatoes. You know what I'm talking about? I'm like him. Lone Survivor, I think it was called. No, that's a Mark Wahlberg movie. I'm like Matt Damon in Mars Attacks, or whatever that movie was, where he was the only guy. And I go out into the vast expanse known as the news desert. And I bring my AI little bots. I'll show you. Hold on. I bring my little AI bots. Now, don't read this because this is the good news story I was telling you about earlier. But this is what my robot looks like when I'm out in the news desert, searching, scavenging for news. And I bring it to use so you can, have information in your brain. And we give it to you in a not media perverted way. I infuse yous with the news in not a mainstream corporate for-profit way that needs to bend the knee to the orange turd king. You may know him as Donald Trump.
What part of the body?
What part of the body?
It wasn't the brain because I took a cognitive test and I aced it. I got a perfect mark.
Oh, you get a perfect mark, little buddy? Oh, good for you. This is what I have to say to that. Quiet, piggy. So, I bring you the news in a non-corporate, manipulated, perverted way, which we need to sell you this version of events so we can manufacture consent from you. I present it and we say, does this seem... What are you thinking? What are you thinking? Does that sound on the up and up? I think not. Do you think the president cares? Do you think the president cares about drugs coming into the country? Do you really? Do you really? Because he just pardoned the Honduran ex-president who was working with, what's his name? Joaquin Guzman? You know the dude that Sean Penn went to go see? The drug cartel buddy? What's his name? Didn't he have like a nickname? He had like a little nickname. Joaquin Guzman. El Chapo! That's it. El Chapo. He pardoned El Chapo's fucking, counterpart, his buddy. So this is where my news is a little different because we don't buy that shit. Because you can't say, oh, we're striking these ships with no evidence. We're doing these drone strikes because we care about drugs coming into our country. And then turn around and pardon a dude that the U.S. district attorneys worked their tails off to get sentenced to 45 years in prison for partnering with cocaine traffickers. You know? I also like to think that we collectively think, well, if you care about drug addicts, you care about Americans getting hooked on drugs, then you would make rehab free, you would free up healthcare, Medicare for all, socialized healthcare, universal healthcare, whatever, single payer, whatever you want to call it. You would ensure that anybody who has that problem could get help, and you wouldn't be imprisoning them. You would not be making hemp illegal. You would be legalizing cannabis that can help with addiction. You would be doing all these other things instead of just saying, I talk a big game, but my words do not match any of my actions. So we bring that to you. That's what we do here. Then he says, I don't know who that is. Did he say? I haven't heard him say, I don't know who that is. But I guarantee you he pulls this. Hold on. I got the clip. Hold on. I got the clip. Remember when he pardoned that other dude? Who was he pardoning this time? There have been so many pardons. It's really hard to keep up with. But remember Trump pardoned someone and they were like, sir, you pardoned this who was it? El Chapo. Thank you, Alma. Good to see you. Who was the dude that he pardoned, and then when he was called out by Nora O'Donnell, he goes,
Okay, are you ready? I don't know who he is.
it was the Bitcoin. It was the Chinese Bitcoin. Oh my God, it was Chinese Mr. Beast, wasn't it? It was Bitcoin Bro. I forget his name. And they were like, you're pardoning this fraudster who donated to your sons and your family's Liberty coin or whatever. And he's like, are you ready for this one?
Okay, are you ready? I don't know who he is.
I don't even know who that is. Haha, gotcha. Auto pen pardon. It's like, holy shit, man.
Here's the thing. I know nothing about it.
Here's the thing.
Doing the other.
Here's the thing. I know nothing. I just pardoned them. I know nothing about it. Don't blame me. Blame the guy pardoning shit. Just don't blame me. This guy is a moron.
I know nothing about it.
He is a psycho. I want you to think about this, right? If you had someone in your family or friend circle that was close to you and they were like, I'm drone striking people to save us all from drugs, and then turn around and was like, but I gotta let these other drug traffickers out of prison, because they help me make money. You'd be like, you're a fucking psychopath. You're crazy. And then this person was up at 3 a.m. Imagine this. I want you to just put yourself in the shoes of everybody that's at work around this dude. And then you see this person, you wake up and you're like, oh, goddamn, my uncle's been tweeting 150 times at 3 a.m.? What? Is he on Sudafed again? I heard he had a Sudafed addiction real bad. I don't know if that's true. Look it up yourself. I don't care. I would imagine. Just look at him. It looks like that's the face of I'm addicted to Big Macs and Sudafed. And this airport has neither of them. That's that face. Holy shit. Quiet, piggy. So listen, out of all the news, and let's keep going through it, but I just want to share what I do, because Andrew with the second W, he's sassy. Andrew with 2 W's, if you're nasty, asked me what I do. And what I do, I bring news to you. And we go through some pop culture stuff. I'll bring you some audio, some stuff to think about. This is like a good for your brain live stream, I'm not going to pump you full of Sudafed and Big Macs like the president wants you to do. That's his new healthcare, concepts of a healthcare plan. A McDonald's value meal followed by a couple of Sudafed so you can get your 40-hour weekend in one day. Okay. So we're going to talk about all this. But before we do, I found this dude on TikTok. Nick, I can't read it. Nick something on TikTok talks about the economy. So let's listen to Nick. Here he is. This is what Nick looks like. That's his handle.
GDP, the jobs report, and inflation data. The numbers have to be biblical. Bro, everything's fine. My economy that revolves around 4 companies buying GPUs from NVIDIA is doing great. Please don't look at data showing that the consumer is tapped out and the only people keeping up spending are people making like 300 grand a year. Guys?
We've talked about that. That's the other thing. I bring you different little studies that you might inherently feel like, oh yeah, I knew that. But I just didn't have the published article or Substack or whatever to back that up. And I bring you things like that. Like, was it last week? We talked about how this guy who does trading and numbers and market analysis and all, one of these economists, he had a Substack. You could look, I think I kept it in the description, link in the description. But this dude broke down that the poverty level in America is at $31,000, and that is not true. The actual numbers for the poverty level in America is if you make 140,000 or below. And 140,000, he said, was like scraping the bottom. So if you're wondering why, things are so tough, and when this guy jokes and says the economy is being kept alive by people who make 300,000 more, is because, like we talked about yesterday, most of us are just doing buy now, pay later, hoping that the later part is, civilization collapse, so we don't have to make a payment.
As if we just give OpenAI like another $80 billion, they'll be profitable in like 15 years. Try out Copilot now. Use our AI assistant. Just don't use it for any sensitive calculations because it'll mess those up. We're still working on the AGI part, but guess what we do have? We can just steal your books and movies. How many more democratically elected socialist leaders does the CIA have to overthrow for you to realize that our economic system's always been the best? When hundreds of billions of dollars, if not trillions of dollars, have been spent on this technology that is not generating any revenue, and it finally comes back down to earth, everyone's gonna say, who could have predicted this? When any person with a functioning brain's seen it coming for the last 3 years at this point. In addition to it being shoved down my throat every 10 seconds, I fucking hate AI. Your technology is not going to start making you hundreds of billions of dollars as promised when the only people using it are people who don't know how to do research and for people dicking around making funny memes. That's not a business model. And it's a business model that currently just revolves around everybody replacing their NVIDIA GPUs constantly. Forever. Ad infinitum. At some point, someone's not going to want to spend as much money. If any one of those 5 giant customers decide to spend less money, the whole thing blows up.
Yeah, I love that. Oh, I love that. That's not a business model. I'm sorry. But the funniest part when he said, it's not a business model when it's just people who don't want to do research. This guy talking about AI and people making shit memes is the White House is like heavily engaged in shit meme posting. Like that's like the White House's bread and butter. They're like, oh, no, the AI is so valuable. How else would you get Hakeem Jeffries in a sombrero? Priorities, man, priorities. This is great. Everybody's okay. We're all okay. Okay. Egg prices are free. Free eggs. Everybody's free. Everything. Gas is $1. According to the president. They're paying you to take your prescriptions now. Remember when he said he cut a deal with Big Pharma to get 700% off, which means, they pay you. How's everybody doing with that? Is everybody loving getting paid to take your prescriptions? We're just in complete moronic, psychotic fucking status right now. Oh my God. Okay, we have to do some news. Sorry, that stuff will derail me hardcore. Interesting. Are you stroking out? Thank you, Alma. Hey, what's up, Edward Thornton? Good to see you, man. Good to see you. Good to see you. Was CZ the one that wore a rat hat to the crypto pardons dinner? CZ, that was his name. Crypto guy. CZ. Thank you. Thank you. Did he go to the crypto pardon dinner? The crypto dinner? I heard that was like when they had that beginning of the summer. I heard that was like Walmart steak and a bunch of wannabe, crypto schemers. I don't think that was for like the heavy hitters. I think that was to just rip off the poor people who want to tell you crypto is the future, you know? My God. But welcome. I'm Rob. Hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. I bring you news, and sometimes I bring you clues as to what's really going on. Carolyn Levitt says the President Trump's MRI was done in a preventative manner and focused on cardiovascular and abdominal imaging. Come on, you telling me that abdomen could fit in that MRI machine? Get out of here. Get out of here. Well, we know that 2 MRIs is not preventative care. What did Trump say about his MRI?
It wasn't the brain because I took a cognitive test and I aced it. I got a perfect mark.
Oh, look at that, little buddy. You get perfect marks. You aced it. You aced that dementia test.
For what, releasing?
For what, releasing? What are they releasing?
What part of the body?
What part of the body? The piggy. That part. So yeah, man. There are just lies bombarded at you all day long. And in the words of Steve Bannon, you know, you fling enough poo at the wall and people aren't going to be able to catch up. So we'll just talk about certain things. And the news today is the new pardon, the Trump cabinet meeting where they talk about Pete Hegseth's war crimes, and the 150 posts, a late night rampage, a late night tirade, the president's account on Truth Social. I don't think it was him. And from what I've read and heard people read, it sounds like, you know, it's Stephen Miller's little Hitler Youth that got their hands on the president's thing, which is even more concerning, you know, because I don't know, like, dude, who has your logins, you know? Like, hey, Donald, who else has your logins to your social media, bro? Come on, man. You're gonna let people start wars and stuff with your social media? You should really tighten that ship, bro. So we're gonna talk about all that, and we're gonna listen to the Trump cabinet meeting. But let's see what else I got for some meme news. I like this dude on Twitter, Philip. He said the Marshall Project asked incarcerated people what might have kept them out of prison. Their responses: affordable housing, vocational programs, cheaper college classes, grief counseling, drug prevention programs, daycare vouchers, and more. And that's just common sense. You know, I'm sure that you knew that too, but it's always good to see it, and it's always good to see it being implicated or being extracted from people in those scenarios. Because obviously common sense says, well, if the president says he cares about, you know, drugs coming into the country, why does he care about the drugs already in the country or the people who are using the drugs in the country? Why does he care about any of that? It seems like maybe him saying, I care about drugs coming into the country, which we're going to play in a second, is just strictly about defense of the war criminal Pete Hegseth and their drone strikes off the Venezuelan coast because they need to go and secure that oil, you know? They should just say that at this point. It's not like they're fucking popular, you know? Everybody hates this dude. Everybody's counting down to the day till we read his obituary. And this dude put the bitch in obituary, let me tell you. All right, let's listen to a little bit of the of this old man. Oh, did you see this one? I love political cartoons. Don't worry, little buddy. We can still hit trans people together. That's the epitome of who's left in MAGA, you know? This is it. This is who's left in MAGA. You know, people that are just like, all right, can we still spew some hatred? Also, the other meme news, you might have seen this hitting your timeline, your feed, your whatever you call it. Sabrina Carpenter, again, just like Guillermo del Toro and Oscar de la Isaac were shouting out immigrants and FAI. Sabrina Carpenter is also calling out the White House. They used one of her songs. I couldn't tell you anything about any of her music, but I like that she's doing this. Again, I hate that she had to be dragged into it to do this, but at least she's saying something. Again, it shouldn't come to like, oh, it affects me, let me speak out. It should be like, there's a moral line There's a moral, ethical, character, integrity line that we as humans should all have. And when people cross that, especially the most powerful, the wealthy, the so-called leaders, the people who are nepotism babies, the fraudsters, the grifters, when they cross that line, I feel like collectively as a community, we should all stand together and go, no, you don't get to do that. We'll call you out. Because bullies don't like that, and these people are bullies. This White House. So they used her song Juno in one of these ICE ads, and Sabrina said this video is evil and disgusting. Do not ever involve me or my music to benefit your inhumane agenda. Which, good on her, you know. But again, thank you for your comments, Sabrina, but it shouldn't have to come to they used your music, now I need to speak out. You should just, you know, this should be a knee-jerk reaction, like the doctor hitting you with that little rubber mallet, you know? Like, oh, no. You don't get to pull this shit. Not in my country. Not while I'm here. And again, like I was saying with that tirade with Donald Trump at 3 a.m., going house, 150 tweets at 3 a.m. 3 a.m. Like, something's wrong. You got to be psychotic to be up at 3 a.m. tweeting 100. It was over like 400 times, but it was like 150 times in an hour, which just try to do that on your own, you know? But that's clear proof that, like, you know, there's he's been co-opted. There are malicious actors using the president and the White House's social media account, and we should all kind of reject that, you know? Here, let me do it in MAGA speak. Let me do a MAGA translation. Imagine if Hunter Biden was tweeting from the White House account, you know? Saying, like, anybody want to use computer or some shit? You know, imagine if Hunter Biden, let me speak to MAGA directly. Could you imagine if Hunter Biden was tweeting from the White House account? Because this is clearly not, you know, Donald Trump. He's not tweeting from his social media, not 150 times at 3 a.m. That's hard to do. As somebody who worked in the media, who is part of your job to post stuff, it's the same reason why when people were like, oh, Elon Musk works hard. I'm like, I can see his Twitter. You know, his tweets are public. I'm like, you can't work hard and tweet that much. You can't. It's impossible. And if you think it's possible to work that hard and tweet that much, I want you to tweet, put alerts on your phone for Elon Musk tweeting. And every time he tweets, pull out your phone and you tweet too. And see if your boss comes by and goes, wow, working hard, huh? Wow, look at you getting your work done, you know? So it's just not possible. But these are all bad faith actors, malicious assholes, just to destroy our country. Now let's listen to a little bit of this Associated Press YouTube channel where they're live, where Trump participates in a cabinet meeting. And we know he aced his...
It wasn't the brain because I took a cognitive test and I aced it. I got a perfect mark.
Perfect marks. So let's see perfect marks.
We inherited that. When I came in, that's what he had. And we fixed inflation. And we fixed almost everything, if you want to know the truth, including 8 wars. We got 1 to go. But including 8...
Is there any MAGA? Hunter went to Saudi Arabia and got $2 billion. No, sorry, that was Jared. Hey, MAGA, the wood bugger. You're definitely MAGA. You believe the propaganda. Can you name the 8 wars that Donald Trump just said he solved? Solved 8 wars. So go ahead. You're on the clock. Go ahead. Go ahead. Tell me all 8. I'll replay it for you.
Car, and he makes electric cars. And, yeah, I think we get along well.
Mr. President, thank you. Yeah, one more. Yeah, when you talk about affordability, is going forward, are the American people, do you believe, getting impatient with the reforms that you're making? They've talked about it's about.
I think they're getting fake news from guys like you. Look, affordability is a hoax.
Wood, that's 2.
Started by Democrats who caused the problem of pricing. And
come on, you can Google faster. Come on. Come on, 8.
Swing state, we won the popular vote, we won everything.
Come on.
Take a look at districts, it was 2,700.
India, Pakistan, that's 1 war, bro.
525.
That's 1.
Because That
Come
was
on,
the
Wood.
problem.
Eight,
We brought it
eight,
down.
eight,
Energy,
eight.
look
Chug,
at- look
chug,
at
chug,
the
chug, chug,
It's
chug,
like
chug.
the simplest, and it's the biggest.
Oh, hold on. You think the Israel-Iran thing is over? Uh-oh. We're not counting that one. We're not counting that one, buddy. Not counting that one. Come on. Come on. Come on. Eight. You're almost there. Google. Come on, Wood. You gotta kiss the crown. And I don't mean a crown on his head. I mean that little ring on his butt. Come on, Wood.
Because if energy comes down, everything comes down. That's the way it works.
Everything.
We're going to be at 250.
Hold on, where is it?
Down.
Come on, Wood.
Scam artists, you know, they're
Come on, Wood.
Con men and women.
Come on, Wood.
Eight.
And the other
We're
country.
going to get prices down.
Wood, come on, man. Yeah, you can't count Israel and Palestine. That's true. And you can't count Israel and Iran because what was about to happen. Come on, Wood. And India, Pakistan. That's not two separate wars. What was it? India fighting a war against themselves in Pakistan? Come on, Wood. Come on. Don't you love your king? Come on, Wood. He said 8 wars. You got like 3, bro. 3, maybe. Serbia's not resolved. Come on, Wood. Oh, Wood. Boo. Everybody boo Wood. Wood, you're the worst. What kind of maggot are you? Oh, man. Wood can't. I'm sorry, everybody who's watching this later, but Wood could not name the 8 wars that Donald Trump said he solved. Boo. Wood sucks. Wood sucks. Man, your king is going to be so disappointed. You might get kicked out of MAGA. He's going to take your little Nazi patch off your shoulder, bro. You better watch out.
So far, but we brought them down from the prices they cost. The reason that they had the highest inflation in the history of our country is because they had the highest prices. But we brought them down, and now we have normal inflation.
Mr. President, thank you so
Now we have normal inflation. Hear that, America? Your president says now it's just normal inflation, guys. That's it. You know how everybody's, living it up at the grocery store? That's just because of the normal inflation. By the way, Wood, disappointing, man. I'm not insulted by the words of a useful lefty. You don't have to be insulted, Wood. You should be insulted that you cannot name the 8 wars your king and master, who you're obedient to and cannot disagree with. You couldn't name the 8 wars, Wood. I didn't come to, you don't have a live stream. I didn't come to your live stream and start chirping. You're in here worshiping this Big Mac looking motherfucker. And all I said was, he said 8 wars, name them. And you're like, I think I got to 6, even though you didn't even get to 6. Maybe 3. But Wood, Donald Blue Bubba, thank you, Aliko. $2.99 super chat, appreciate you. Of course he did. Right, Wood? But Wood, man, you don't got to be insulted. I'm not trying to insult you. I'm just booing you because your loyalty to your king is clearly not ripe. You should have, man, you need to go look this up. You have a supercomputer in your hand. That's what you're on right now, Wood. You need to go Google, what are the wars Donald is saying he solved? So that way, next time a useful lefty tests you on that, you can rattle them off. You don't have to be going back and forth from, Google to your phone, going, here, this one, here, this one. Yeah, and you didn't even name 8, so I'm just very disappointed. And I don't know, I'm not going to tell your queef in chief, but, he finds out. You might be kicked out of the little Hitler Club. All right.
much for taking questions.
We're watching old Big Mac Donald live at the cabinet meeting.
With your assembled cabinet. I wanted to clarify something that you had said on Sunday regarding the boat strikes near Venezuela.
All right, we're going to talk about the boat strikes, because at first they were distancing themselves from Pete Hegseth, Secretary of War Criminals. Originally they were like, no. But now we find out they were like all watching it live. They were all there. They're all, implicated in this. And let's see what happens. Now, before we hear Donald Trump, I just want everybody to have a baseline a baseline of understanding of what has happened today, okay? Because the president's going to say some words that if you know nothing, you go, sounds good. Sounds good. If you were just born and you could understand language, if you're just born yesterday and you could understand language, you go, this sounds like a good thing he's saying. But if you can even read poorly, like George Carlin said, and you look at the news today, and we understand that Donald Trump pardoned the Honduran ex-president convicted in a drug case. Juan Orlando Hernandez was accused of receiving millions in bribes and partnering with cocaine traffickers, the cocaína. He was convicted in Manhattan in 2024 and sentenced to 45 years in prison. That's not a light sentence. But then again, Donald Trump doesn't like to associate with the very best people. That's why he's moved Ghislaine Maxwell to a camp. She was spending decades in prison too. He announced Friday afternoon that he would grant a full and complete pardon to Mr. Hernandez, the center of a sweeping drug case found guilty by an American jury last year conspiring to import cocaine into the United States. So just so you know, what he was found guilty in a court of law, given due process, more than we give our citizens. This ex-president was convicted of conspiring to import cocaine. Who did he work with? Who did this Mr. Hernandez work with? Oh, he's accused of taking bribes from Joaquin Guzman, the notorious former leader of the Sinaloa cartel in Mexico known as El Chapo, and of running his Central American country like a narco state. Now, people in America are a little upset. They're a little shocked. You might read some articles that say, like, why would he do, like, what the f is going on? But now that we know that news story, just what, maybe no reason I shared that news story. Let's go back to the live cabinet meeting and see what Donald Trump has to say about the war crimes Pete Hegseth committed against a non-combatant after their boat with no evidence at all was drone struck and they were floating in the water, no longer a combatant, and struck again. And Pete had said, kill them all, which is also a legal order because if somebody surrenders in war, that is a war crime. So now that you know the news of the day, you know that one big story that this guy just pardoned a conspirator to El Chapo for trafficking drugs into America. Let's see what Hegseth and old Fat McDonald has to say.
You had said that you didn't know if the second strike on that one boat had happened, but you wouldn't have wanted it. Now that your administration has acknowledged that it happened, do you support that second strike? And Mr. Secretary, I want to clarify something you had said in an interview back in September, I believe on Fox News. You said that you had watched that strike live on television. In real time, did you know that there were survivors after the initial strike?
Well, look, all I know is this. Every boat that you see get blown up, we save 25,000 on average lives. 25,000 lives.
So he's claiming that every boat that's blown up, he's saving 25,000 lives. Now, if you believe that, I just want to remind you of what the president also said. Hold on one second. What did the president say about drugs in the country? Just so you know, if you think the president is trustable with numbers, he just said every boat we blow up saves 25,000 Americans. I just want to play this clip of what Donald Trump said to a reporter as well.
And the fact that 300 million people died last year from drugs, that's what's illegal.
So he claimed 300 million people, Americans he was talking about, died in America last year from drugs. You should go look up the population of America to see if his numbers add up. I'm not going to share it with you. Let's get back to this. So the first claim in this live cabinet meeting, press asks, you said you watched that strike on TV. Did you know there were survivors? Did you order that second strike? And now that you guys have admitted all this, that you knew all this stuff, that you're committing war crimes, what do you have to say for yourself? And he says, well, I know for every boat we blow up, we're saving 25,000 Americans. Oh, interesting number. Where do you gain that? Where do you get that intel from? Just share the reports.
They've been sending enough of this horrible fentanyl and other things like cocaine and other things.
Oh, he says the Venezuelan boats are bringing in fentanyl, which, if again, you have a supercomputer in your hand, you can chat GPT, Google, I don't care, DuckDuckGo. You can ask Jeeves. You can just look if anyone, the White House themselves, not the president, any of the councils, any of the boards, any of the foreign affair things, if Venezuela makes fentanyl, just look that up. I've already done it. They don't. We've never heard this before. And then the president says, well, they're bringing in cocaine. Interesting. So are you saying you care about cocaine traffickers or you don't? Do you want to stop cocaine traffickers or pardon them? A lot of words happening, and unfortunately, words mean stuff. So now he's saying they're trafficking cocaine. Interesting actions to take by pardoning a cocaine trafficker. If you're saying we need to blow up boats to stop it, why would you pardon this one? You know what? None of this makes sense, and that's what I'm trying to point out. He's a psycho.
But fentanyl right now is the leader of the pack. To kill.
Also would like to just bring to your attention, if you give a shit about fentanyl in America, you would invest in rehabs, healthcare, all these different kinds of facilities in America to help the people who are already addicted. This is an epidemic that's been happening since Purdue Pharma and the Sackler family, was promoting it with bougie white guy sales rap videos and Oxycontin. If you care about Americans on drugs, you would invest in the infrastructure needed to rehab people back into the communities. He ain't doing that. This is not part of his concepts of a healthcare plan. So again, just trying to point out that some of these words aren't aligning with, his actions. Unless, is this concepts of a healthcare plan to just bomb boats? I don't know.
Our entire nation, because a little speck on the head of a pin can kill somebody.
Just shut up. Just stop telling us what it does and start answering for the war crimes.
It's very dangerous stuff. I know so many people where their sons were drug addicts. They had one little sample and they died.
So are you saying you care about Americans who are addicted to drugs? Because that would be awesome. You wouldn't pardon this dude, but you would also be like, universal health care. We're going to, invest in rehabs and rehabbing people back into our communities. He's not doing any of that.
They died. They couldn't believe it. As far as the attack is concerned, I didn't, I still haven't gotten a lot of information because they're...
What a fucking bitch. I've never seen a leader so bitch made. If you don't know what I mean, let me just play a couple clips from you. Remember CZ? Thank you to who was pointing out his name, CZ, the Bitcoin fraudster. And when he was asked about Nora O'Donnell's, you pardon this Bitcoin fraudster. What's up with that?
Okay, are you ready? I don't know who he is.
Are you ready? I don't know. It was an auto pen pardon. I don't know. I have no idea.
Here's the thing. I know nothing about it because I'm too busy doing the other. I know nothing about it.
I know nothing, okay? And Biden pardoned ex-cons too. Neither are good, but the one-sided outrage is getting tired. Actually, I can't like that. What do you mean one-sided outrage? There's a Nazi in the White House. There's no two sides to this, bro. Bruh. I need you to understand that. Thanks for the $4.99, but you need to understand something. Okay? There is no two sides to Trump. He's a war criminal. He's traitorous to America. He wants people to only worship his decrees, and that's it. I have all my complaints about Biden, and it's not who the fuck he pardoned, especially because he pardoned Leonard Peltier. You know, that was one of his last pardons, and for that, I'll give him more credit than every president before him, including Trump. But you gotta be fucking wild to think like you're gonna play the Biden 2 game here. We're talking about a guy who's committing war crimes on TV, like recorded war crimes that are not like hidden and we're gonna find out later, like real time. This is history, okay? And the leader, when you read about this in the history books, the leader just fucking said, hold on, how do I rewind this a little bit? Ash, God damn it. The leader just said, hold on. I have to rewind this because I don't know where we are. Where are we? Let's see.
Like cocaine and other things, but fentanyl right now is the leader of the pack to kill our entire nation, because a little speck on the head of a pin can kill somebody. It's very dangerous stuff. I know so many people where their sons were drug addicts. They had one little sample and they died. They couldn't believe it. As far as the attack is concerned, I still haven't gotten a lot of information because I rely on Pete. But to me, it was an attack. It wasn't 1 strike, 2 strikes, 3 strikes.
Okay, did we catch that? Hold on. Did we catch that? Remember, good leadership is when things go right, you give your team credit. When things go wrong, you take accountability. That's good leadership. Did you hear that right there? Hold on.
A lot of information because I rely on. A lot of information because I rely on. A lot of information. I still haven't gotten a lot of information because I rely. I still haven't got. Back is concerned, I still haven't gotten a lot of information because I rely on Pete. But to me, it was an attack. It wasn't 1 strike, 2 strikes, 3 strikes.
I mean, even that right there, it's like, that's moronic. It wasn't, what? Oh my God, hold on. Like, I don't even think people understand how moronic these things are said, that are said are.
What part of the body? What part of the body?
Where is it? Okay, here it is. Sorry, my son's playing around with my stuff. God bless him. I love my little boy, but he puts all these things in. He puts all these things in my sound bar, and I tell him not to, but. He does all this crazy stuff. I'm like, stop, man. I can't find my stuff. And he's like, it's just too fun. Oh, I love him.
Back is concerned, I still haven't gotten a lot of information because I rely on Pete. But to me, it was an attack. It wasn't 1 strike, 2 strikes, 3 strikes.
Okay, we got to break that down. Again, he just passes leaders. I mean, he has no leadership. He just passes it off. I don't even know. Like, this isn't going to work in his excuse, when the tribunals are held and we're holding these people accountable for the things they've done. And I want to remind you, if you're going to try to butt Biden this, like, there are so many human rights violations happening right now, and it's hard to keep up with all of them. And calling these ones out, like, I don't know how to break this down to you, but calling these out doesn't excuse any of the previous ones. It's, we can only deal with what's going on right now. You understand that? It's so infuriating that people are like, yeah, but Biden, I'm kind of tired of the one-sided outrage. It's not. If you're new to the channel, well, God bless you, and may God keep you, I guess. But I'm not a Democrat. I'm certainly not a guardian of perverts. I'm not a GOP Republican. I have problems with both of them. Now, my big problems with Biden, you're constantly, incessantly needing to talk about, the past and what Biden did, which doesn't make any sense, But again, we're addressing people who are like, not my president. Let's go, Brandon. We're dealing with that mentality. So it's not a high caliber where they're not bringing their best, let's just say. My Christ, man. It's just exhausting that you got to deal with this ever so often, but you want to take the time to inform and educate. You want to give everybody equal chance, equal footing. So I will. But again, it's just tiresome. It's tiresome because the fact that somebody is willing to excuse this because of Biden or whatever that comment's meant to be. One-sided outrage. No, I was pretty fucking livid when Joe Biden broke up that rail worker strike. In fact, I don't like him at all. I hate Joe Biden. I think he sucked, and I think he was a bad president. I think he did a few good things. Pardon Leonard Peltier, 50 years too late. But I'm not going to spend my live streams while the president's trying to defend and excuse. Hold on. Where's my propaganda? Here we go. While propaganda is happening in real time, I'm not going to sit and talk about Joe Biden. I know MAGA needs me to because they can't focus on, the crimes at hand. But this is exhausting. Why do we let this 1-year-old account speak and hear crushed ice? And there it is. And you can do that. Obama is a war criminal too. Yes, that is true. That is true. But at least, and here's the thing. Here's where discernment comes in. Read your Bibles and learn what discernment means, folks. Discernment means, yeah, war criminal. But there were some things that he did. You know how Donald Trump, I got to try to do it in MAGA speak. So Donald said concepts of a healthcare plan will be the best ever concepts, right? And it turns out when he has power, all the power, Republicans, the guardians of perverts, control everything. Turns out their concepts were, let's give the billionaires and the millionaires tax breaks, and let's take away the subsidies that help people afford healthcare in America, and let's let them die. That's his concepts, right? Obama, yes, war criminal, also forced insurance companies to stop denying people access to healthcare based on pre-existing conditions. A good thing. So discernment means you don't have to be, I'm MAGA, I'm Democrat. It doesn't mean you worship. This is the biggest issue in America today. This is why our country is going down the toilets slower and more disgusting than, Donald Trump sitting there trying to squeeze out a Big Mac after he had his third in a row or whatever, however many he eats. He should release a presidential diet, like his menu from the day. He's like, first I get up and have 1 Big Mac for breakfast and a large fry and a Diet Coke. Then I have 2 Big Macs for lunch. And then I have my snack Mac. But discernment is very important because what we're seeing right now is Democrats believe, well, we just got to support Democrats. You just got to support your team no matter what. This isn't a football game. This is not the Super Bowl, folks. Okay? And even if it was a football team, listen, if it was a football game, you got to admit, there are times that you fucking hate players on your team. You just hate them. You don't like them for some reason. I don't know. They look funny. Whatever. You need discernment. You need to be able to say, this is a good thing and this is a bad thing. I don't blindly follow the leadership because they're red hat. And that's what you see happening. People lining up like wood. Hold on. What, Michael? I was talking about Woodburger. Obviously a troll account. Wouldn't surprise you if they're Nigerian or Eastern European. 100%. Michael, I don't think you've been here the past couple of days. Good to see you, by the way. I hope you're doing well. I send you my love, especially this time of year. I know it can be tough for people. It's very tough for me. Today's the decades anniversary of my father's passing. So today sucks. Today sucks. And then tomorrow's my mother's. No, today isn't the anniversary, but today is my dad's birthday and tomorrow's my mom's birthday. And I've lost, it's been decades since. So today, just this fucking time of year, man. Sorry. So I hope you're doing well. That's what I'm trying to say. Jesus Christ. Oh my God. Depression, it's a bitch. But I've been just telling people, I said, you're on YouTube, you can go make a short, go outside and film the beautiful American countryside and just prove that you're in America. I haven't seen it yet. I'll just say that, Michael. I haven't seen anybody, and I say, tag me. Tag me. When the police go by in your neighborhood, tag me. Because, American sirens are very unique comparative to around the world. So just let me, just prove it. That's it. We're on YouTube. It's free to upload. You don't have to pay nothing. Love to see it, folks. And these people, they haven't, but it's okay. But again, I got to remind myself to take the time. The problem with being a leftist, and that's what I would consider myself, a socialist leftist, but I try not to put myself in a box, because if some leftist came in here, saying, supporting Donald Trump and his friendship with Epstein, I would say, get the fuck out of here. Like, there are just lines to be drawn, folks. One of those is everything these horrible people did with Epstein. That is one line where it doesn't matter if they're like, oh, now I'm going to do something good. You go, fucking what, like, can you make, you can't, your good can't outdo the bad you did with Epstein. And I got to take the time to remind people this, because I feel like too many Americans think, well, I'm Republican, I'm red hat, so I'm ride or die. He's a ride or die bitch for MAGA and for Trump. And it's like, you don't have to do that. Stop, man. And more importantly, like Woodburger, I'm just going to call you that because that's what I see when I read your name. And when I called him out and said, name the 8 wars, and couldn't, he did 3. He claimed 6, but that's okay. It wasn't 6. Again, because the India-Pakistan war, I just want to point this out. Like, that's 1. That's 1 war. You can't say, it's like wood. It's like if I asked you to name multiple American wars and you counted the Civil War as 2 wars because it had the North and the South. You understand me? Are you following along? Like, it's not. It was 1 war. 2 sides, correct, but 1 war. But the thing is like, you don't have to defend that. MAGA, previous to election, they were the anti-war party. No new wars. And now they're hailing this dude while he's starting a war with Venezuela for ending all these other wars. And it just makes no sense. And what I'm imploring people is to have discernment, have some kind of character, some integrity, some backbone, some whatever you want to call it. Because once you have that as a person and you understand where you stand, it's easier to go, that just doesn't mesh with who I am, Unless, and I don't know what, what is your objective? What do you want Trump to do? And just don't mention immigrants, because the immigrant thing is like, America is only immigrants. You know what I mean? Like, what is the goal? This is what I can't find out from MAGA. Like, what is your fucking game plan? You just want an authoritarian? Because nothing else. Like, you obviously don't want prices lower. Nothing's gotten cheaper. And you can't trust a guy who failed casinos, bankrupted casinos to lower prices, Wood, what you don't understand is my outrage is at the injustices and the Nazi leadership happening in America. Wood, I want you to understand, when I talk about the live, again, this is a live press interrogation of the president. I don't know, they're not really interrogating. Live press conference with the president.
Somebody asked me a question about the second strike. I didn't know about the second strike. I didn't know.
He didn't know anything. Of course, Donald Trump infamously never knew anything. I want you to remember that there are other people in the world that maybe had husbands and dads that went out to go fishing and go on a boat and never came home. I want you to think about that. So this is why I do, because obviously the news is not helping our country. The way they're framing this stuff is like, can you defend it? Can you defend these actions? And it's like, no, they can't. And especially for the people who are in the chat saying, well, Biden did this, Obama's a war criminal. Well, guess what? Real time, we're dealing with one. Are you going to take your opportunity to speak out, or are you going to co-op or co-sign on this? And that's the frightening thing. So many people are going to co-sign it for what? That's what I can't figure out what their end goal is. Like, what do you want the country to be? You know, what do you get out of this? What makes us better? What makes it great, as your hat says? Wood, don't do that. I don't think you want to engage anymore because there's no, I don't think, you know, a decent human being can defend what's happening. And that's what we're seeing in real time. I mean, this is close to the holidays, and there are people in another country that are looking for their loved ones who went out fishing. You know, there's been no evidence. And the worst part of all is that these fucking clowns, these absolute snakes, are just not even like, no court's going to hold them accountable, right? Nobody in this country, not the press. All we have is the people to say, like, we reject this shit. So nobody's going to hold their feet to the fire on this. So they could just own up to it. And they're not even doing that. The president is being the worst fucking example of leadership, just saying, I didn't know about any of this. I didn't know. Pete could probably answer that. Watch. This is where he's going to go with it.
Anything about people. I wasn't involved in it. I knew they...
I wasn't involved in it. I mean, bro, fucking, you're the president, you know? For all those times you say, just Joe Biden know this, auto pen that, it's pretty brazen and moronic. You might say the R word. I won't. But it's pretty that of you to be like, I don't know any. I'm just a little bitty president. I don't know what's happening. Okay.
Took out a vote, but I would say this: they had a strike. I hear the gentleman that was in charge of that is extraordinary.
Oh, so now they're gonna roll over. They're gonna roll over on the military leaders, because you know those military leaders ain't doing any interviews like this. So you know the president and Pete are both about to rat out whoever pulled the trigger. Yo, they're about to just start dropping names. Be like, I heard this dude was wonderful. He's got great aim. You know that's coming. This is insane. What snakes?
Extraordinary person. I'll let Pete speak about him, but Pete was satisfied. Pete didn't know about second attack having to do with two people, and I guess Pete would have to speak to it. I can say this: I want those boats taken out, and if we have to, we'll attack on land also, just like we attack on sea. And
so now he's saying, if we have to, we'll attack land. Okay. Do you want any evidence, sir? Can you just show us a shred of evidence? You know, some fentanyl dust in the water or something? Anything, bro? Bro. Oh my God. This is so horrific. This is like so horrific that history is going to look back and say, and at the time, the president say he didn't know much about it. Like a fucking loser. You would think he was like the coffee boy, you know? This interview with Donald Trump, you'd think like this was like, you know, hey, we're speaking to the White House intern. He just came back from getting coffee. What do you think about those drone strikes off Venezuela? And he's like, I don't know anything about it, but I'm sure if they got to attack the land, they'll probably do the land too. I don't really know. I know we got some good guys in the military. I trust them pulling the trigger on stuff, but I don't, who knows? It's like, dude, what, are you the president or are you the coffee guy?
Very little coming in by sea. I think we've knocked out over 90% of it. There's very little, and I understand that. There's very little. We're saving hundreds of thousands of lives with those pinpoint attacks. It's an amazing thing when you see a boat going along, and you know, a lot of the press would like to say they're not, you see the boat, they're not maybe drugs. You see these boats. First of all, who has 5 engines on the back of a boat going in weird directions? And
who has 5 engines going in weird directions? This dude is insane.
Loaded up with lots of white containers.
Lots of white containers. And if we know anything from life, that you can only carry drugs in white containers. That's it. Couldn't be anything else. We all know that. So there's your proof, guys.
They're involved, their bags or things.
Has anybody ever gone fishing Are coolers white? God, I pray you don't have a white cooler. You better watch out for a drone.
No, they've done an amazing job, and Peter's done an amazing job. Pete, you could probably better answer the question.
Yeah, Pete could better answer it. Yeah, I'm sure he's gonna sound off on, you know, his accountability for his insubordination to America.
Spot on, sir. I think you got to start with the baseline, which Marco laid out. Everybody's laid out. We've got 20 million people invading our country over.
The baseline is 20 million people invading our country. What?
4 years. We don't know where they're coming from.
And you don't know where they're coming from, but you're drone striking Venezuela? Bro, that in itself that is pretty damning. He's like, there's 20 million people coming into this country. We don't know where they're coming from. We're just droning everything. Like, what the fuck is going on? Pete Kegsa just said there's 20 million people coming into this country. We don't know where they're coming from. In response to your drone striking Venezuelan boats, he's like, yeah, listen, man, if you approach, just beware. This is nuts. This is bananas.
That includes Tren de Aragua and cartels and violent criminals. They bring drugs, and you mentioned it, Mr. President, poisoning, an intentional poisoning of the American people, killing hundreds of thousands of Americans. So the president had the courage to designate these cartels as designated terrorist organizations. Now, a number of us here served in the military. And
he designated these cartels that the guy he just pardoned was working with. He designated them. He had the courage to do that while courageously pardoning one of their traffickers.
Spent 20 years fighting terrorists like Al-Qaeda and ISIS on the other side of the world. How do you treat Al-Qaeda and ISIS? Do you arrest them and treat them?
Yes, you arrest. Yes, that's standard operating procedure for the past, couple few decades. You arrest them. There you go. Pete has the answer, so he can't feign ignorance. You know what I mean? Pete knows. He said, how do you treat them? Do you arrest? That's it. Pete, I wish somebody cut him off and just said, Pete, you got it. That's what you do. That's what you do, Pete. You arrest them. You don't do this. You don't do this. You don't. Especially with no proof. It's crazy. Oh, and this is what I was talking about. I don't know if Wood is still here, or if he, had to pretend like, oh, I can't argue with you because you have a traumatic past. I share that stuff because I need people to understand, man. Where I come from, where my positions in life are, is because I've suffered. I witnessed people close to me, in my family, in my friends. I've witnessed people I've loved. I'm sure you have too. Lost people from drug addiction, lost people that you thought were going to make it, lost people lack of access to healthcare. I've suffered all these things, and I thought there's got to be a better way for the so-called best nation in the world, and that's what I'm fighting for. Meanwhile, you're defending people who are like, I'll take your healthcare and I'll bomb these people while I'm pardoning their trafficking friends, and it's like they're just doing it blindly, like he says, no matter what. Fuck this dude right here. He's just I'm sure he's probably a Russian Nigerian prince. And this, I don't know much about Grant Greenwald, but at least he said, to announce that there must be no criticism of the president, that we're to stand by the president right or wrong, is not only unpatriotic and servile, but it's morally treasonable to the American public. Theodore Roosevelt. By the way, I wanted to show you this. Arrogance is the camouflage of insecurity. Hey, what's up, Crushed Dice? Good to see you. Woodburger, you've said goodbye like 40 times. Listen, man. I just want you to, again, explain why you support this behavior. I want to understand. I really want to understand what MAGA sees as the benefit, especially the maggots that say things like, well, Biden did war crimes, Obama did war crimes. It's like, so are you against the war crimes when a Democrat does it, but for them when a Republican does it? Because I can't comprehend that. Like, I don't get that. If you said to me, are you against war crimes? I would say, yes. It doesn't matter what flavor of politician you are. I don't give a shit. I, as a human, would stand against that. I think our Constitution would too. But, I can only speak for myself. So I can't comprehend how these people continue to say, well, Biden did it, Obama did that. And I go, okay, those were bad, right? So can we agree, like, what is happening right now in real time, live on the news, on the AP Press YouTube channel, is bad stuff. They're excusing this stuff with no evidence, while pardoning, other traffickers. It's just bananas. The times times of lawlessness like what we're in are lawful and just. We need to get through this together. You're a good man, Rob. Don't let people change it. Oh, thank you, Benzo Scarlet. I appreciate you. Yeah, man. It's crazy. But we got to speak out while we got a voice. Did you see this? I just want to take a pause because I might have to just come on again later. But look at this. More perfect union. Only 7% of multifamily homes are current, or what does that say? Not only. I can't read that shit. It says 7% of multifamily homes are currently vacant, a record high. We have corporate landlords in America. This is why I speak out, because there are homeless people. There are people I know who have lost their housing. Me, a few years ago, I lost my housing to corporate landlords. Like, this doesn't have to be this way. And this is why I speak out. This is why I share my story, because the more people can go, oh yeah, this doesn't make sense. All for what? So I can wear a hat and pretend like I'm in a cult? Like, this shit doesn't make sense. And it can be a better way. You're being grifted by the number one grifter. It's no problem. Listen, if you got duped and you're waking up, awesome. Condemn it and leave this cult. But this shit is unacceptable. Record high of multifamily homes vacant while there's homeless people? That math ain't mathin'. Oh, we have homeless people. Let's just fill them up. No. Rich people and corporations need to make money on these homes. Those people must live on the streets. This doesn't make sense. This doesn't. There was another tweet I had too somewhere. Oh, maybe I didn't. Oh, yeah. This is the other thing I wanted to point out to MAGA. Just change. When Donald Trump says something about Biden, Obama, whoever he's talking about, just change it to Charlie Kirk. Change it to someone you like and see how you'd feel. You know what I mean? It's like, some of this stuff doesn't make sense. And we shouldn't be defending these war criminals, especially if you're one to go, well, Obama was. Biden did this. Okay, great. So you have a past of a personal history of conviction against these kinds of things. So why are you allowing Trump to get away with it? Why are you backing him up? I implore you to think about that. Hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. Crush, Michael, Ray Gun. Ray, I got to give you a thing. Benzo Scarlet. Yeah, Virgil Homeless. See, I hear about this stuff all the time, man, and we can fucking come together and stop this in its tracks. But we got to speak out. We got to act collectively. That's why I want you to hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. I got to run, but let's try to go live later. So that's why I say hit the notification bell. I'm Rob. I am grateful for the engagement, even if we disagree, because we need to have conversations. We need to fucking, get people away from this narrative that the news is even allowing to take place. So, and check out, this whole live with Trump and war criminal Kegseth is on. It's happening right now. It might be over. I've had a pause for a while, but it's going live. If you're like, oh, obsessed with Trump, it's like, no, this is live from the White House right now. The AP is covering it, and I want to talk about it because this is important. So much love to you guys. All right, stay safe, be kind, and do something nice for someone if you can. Even if it's just a phone call or a text, reach out to somebody, Let's spread some love. Spread some love.